So just to get started, I'm not doing one on listings today, so I'm actually not going to make my own landing page. I will show you an easy way to do an ad that you don't need a listing for. So I'm just going to go into campaigns and get started drafting out my actual ad, and then we will get to what my click-through link is going to be in a second. So I'm in campaigns right now. I'm just going to get started, hit create campaign. I'm going to do a paid social ad. And then my campaign name is going to be Historic Haymount, because that is what I'm doing my ad on. You have to choose a goal. It really doesn't make a difference when it comes to the actual ad, with the exception of advertised listing. If you choose this one, it's going to prompt you to pull in a listing from the MLS. You can pull in a listing with pretty much any of them, but it's going to ask you for that first thing. It's not really going to like it when you try to click out of that. So since I'm not pulling a listing, I'm just going to say attract buyers. And you have the option to run it on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. I just stick with Facebook. Use whatever you want. Really, I would like to play around with the Instagram ads, but this is connected to my personal Instagram and not the Keller Williams-Fayetteville Instagram. I haven't found a way to get that remedied, so I'm just going to stick with Facebook. So create campaign. It's going to think for a minute. Okay, so here at the top, if I wanted to bring in a listing, I could. I just click add listing and search through the MLS. I don't need one today. And then this is going to be the preview of your ad. So honestly, this section right here, the text, I think is the hardest part of actually doing Facebook ads, just because this is, building it out. I always cheat. I have mine kind of ready ahead of time, just because it's not fun to sit here and watch me try and figure out what text I'm going to use. So I'm highlighting Historic Haymount in this. I'm using a neighborhood page to get there, and I'm just going with, do you know why Historic Haymount is one of the most sought after areas to live in Fayetteville? Beautiful houses, rich history, and great location. Click learn more to explore Historic Haymount and available homes. So I always kind of follow certain rules when I'm doing the text. I like to reference this learn more button because the entire goal of this ad is to get them to click this button. So I want to capture them as a lead, and that's the best way to do it. That's really the only way to do it. So I always kind of show them, if I have enough text, you're only limited to 250 characters. But if I have enough to work with, I always make it a point to kind of add in, okay, what are they going to get when they click learn more and give me their information? In this case, they're going to be able to explore Haymount and available homes there. I never give away too much. This one isn't a listing, but if it were, I would never give away the address. Purchase price, really anything that they can take in Google, because then you're missing out on leads. So you want them to kind of be interested. I started off with a question, maybe trying to hopefully get some attention, but really that's a good rule to follow. Just don't give away too much information. You want them to be interested. You want them to click this button and capture them as a lead. Your headline is going to be this bold text right here. So you only have 25 characters. Which isn't really a lot to work with. So honestly, I'm just going with Historic Haymount. Usually if it's a listing, I'll do like 3 bedrooms, 2 bath home, really anything I can kind of try to fit into 25. Historic Haymount, that's only 18. So really not a lot to work with. Your description, there's so many different ways that an ad can show up on Facebook. So this is only shown in some placements of the ad. So with that in mind, I just like to use something that it doesn't take away from the ad if they don't see it in one of these placements. So find your perfect home today. If they see it, great. If they miss out on it, it really doesn't hinder my ad. So don't put anything, too important to the ad down in this description on the off chance that they don't see it. You do have the option to use emojis. So if you are an emoji person, they have pretty much everything that is in Facebook. So you can scroll through, you can even search. That's really up to you. You're either an emoji person or you're not. So that right there, hardest part of the ad. Definitely, don't overthink it. I'm really bad about that. I just kind of type whatever comes to mind, especially with like these neighborhood ones. I'm trying to highlight what makes Historic Haymount unique. But don't overthink it. It's really, this shouldn't stress you out too much. So I'm going to say, And then I'm going to go on to the image. So I'm just going to hit configure. So you have a few options here. You can pull from a listing, if this is a listing. You can upload your own, or you can pull from the designs library if you've created one in designs. I have, download mine. I have one set up that I will show you how I got to it, but I'm just going to upload it. So there it is. You can add up to 5 images. And I'm going to leave it as a square. So there's my image. It looks really bad on this computer. I don't know why this computer warps things so much. I have the hardest time with images on it, but that's what we're working with. So I'm going to save. And then, you know, if you want to add more, you can, when you have multiple, you can take it, drag it around, you can change, but basically it'll just be like a carousel so they can click and drag and scroll through this. So I'm just going to leave them one. Usually I only do one image for anything like this. Listings, I tend to do a few more. So the logo, you can put it on either the left side or the right side. I'm going to go with the right side today, just so it covers up that little hospital symbol. I'm going to save. And then at this point, basically the ad is built out. So there's really our next steps are like Facebook, where it's going to click through to, and then your lead options. But really this is the ad. So there's nothing else we do in here is going to change what the ad actually looks like. So you can preview it, you can change it to mobile and just see if that changes anything. I'm going to go into Facebook settings. So it is pulling my account because it's connected in settings, but I do have to choose my page. So I am attached to the Keller Williams-Fayetteville page. So that's what I'm going with. And that will update this up here to what our Facebook page actually looks like. Your destination. So this is really important. This says recommended for a reason. So depending what type of ad you're running, this question is really important to you. Facebook lead generation form means when they click this Learn More button, a little screen is going to pop up and ask them to give their name, phone number, and email address before they can click through to your URL that we're going to set up down here. Whatever they put in there is what gets captured as a lead. Site or landing page means when they click this Learn More, they're going to go directly to this URL. And really the only way that you'll capture them as a lead is if they, interact. Usually this option, you're probably using your website. The only way you're going to capture them as a lead is if they interact with it. So I've done a lot of ads. The only time I've ever gotten a lead from a landing page, I think that happened once. So it's not very common. But what Facebook is going to do instead of going for leads is go for views. So if you are advertising maybe an open house and you just want to get that in front of as many people as possible and you're not really trying to get leads, that might be a good option for you. But most of the time you're running these Facebook ads to get leads. If that's the case, you always want to use the Facebook lead generation form. Your button label, you have Learn More, Sign Up, Apply Now. Learn More is really the only one that makes sense in this instance. I knew that ahead of time, hence my text. Website URL. So what makes this go through to historic Kmart? I'm going to open up a new tab. You would do this from your own agent site. I am going to go to our Market Center website. And wherever you have your search bar, you can search for any kind of neighborhood. If I type in historic Kmart, it'll pop up in neighborhoods. If I type in, Gates 4, that's an option too. So you can run this on pretty much any neighborhood in Fayetteville. Just keep in mind it is still going by the Nextdoor app. So whatever is considered a neighborhood on Nextdoor. So that's what they call it, historic Kmart. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to give it a minute. So it's going to show me the 3 properties that are available. But you have this neighborhood page right here. So if I click Explore Neighborhood, it's going to take them to a page that is just about this neighborhood. So they can see average home price, average days on market, what the locals say about it, walkability, some market snapshots, and then what makes this neighborhood unique. They can also search for how far this area is away from, where they work, where they have daycare, whatever they need to do during the day. They can see how far things are. Then they can see what schools are in the area, and then even some restaurants and kind of what all, okay, if I live in historic Haymount, what all is available to me. So they can see, restaurants, groceries, anything, any kind of place. And then they can also see the 7 homes for sale, what neighborhoods are nearby. And then, all of your information will be on this sheet as long as it's coming from your website. So that's a whole lot of information in there. What I'm going to do is just click on this. I'm just going to copy it directly and come back over to where I'm building out my ad. Paste it in there. I'm going to give it a minute to think. And now whenever they click learn more, they're going to give me their information. I'm going to capture them as a lead, and then they are going to be taken directly to this page because that is what I have narrowed this listing or this URL down to. If you need other easy ideas for ads to do on anything that doesn't require a listing, find your search bar, just click search. It'll ask if you are okay sharing your information. But you have these filters right here. Ones that I like to do, houses that are, 230,000 or less. That's an option, 250. And you can zoom out and, so you get more options to choose other than just one. I've done houses that have 3+ bedrooms. I've also done houses, I'm trying to reset it. Oh, okay. That have been price reduced in the last 7 days. Open house. So houses that are, have upcoming open houses. These are all things that you can use that you just need to build an ad on. And you don't need a listing. How I got this image, I'll show you. Let me go back to my historic Haymount. So this right here is what I pulled my image from. I just did a screenshot on my keyboard. If you have a PC, I think it's the Windows button in the print screen. It'll save it into your photos, and then I just cropped it into a square. I'm not sure how to do a screenshot on a Mac, I'm sorry, but just Google it if, when you have any doubt. But that's where my image came from. And then my URL is there. Your audience, so the default is 20 miles from wherever we are, or 20 miles if you pull in a listing. So it's just pulling 20 miles within Fayetteville. If I want to change that to 30, I can. I believe that the least amount you can do is 15, and I think the most you can do is 50. So whatever you want that to be there. I'm going to try 30 again. I did 30 last week, and it worked out pretty well. You also have the option to do expert targeting. So this, it says it's optional. You hover over that, add more interest will expand your audience to include more people. The goal of this is to put this ad in front of people who are most likely going to be interested in it, based on whatever interests you choose. So I've kind of shied away from using these. I really don't think they make that much of a difference. Some agents, they swear by this. They have a list that they choose every single time. So really anything from banking to business, computer engineering. So what I kind of like to do if I'm using them based on my ad, I might search through and choose things based on it. If I don't want to do that, I search things like Zillow, but I stick to topics that are more like Zillow and not anything doing with agents because I don't want to capture agents as leads. You can also do things like finance. So any of those options, mortgage, there's a lot to choose from in there. There's also a lot to choose from for investing. Well, there's not, okay. If you're doing a listing and it has a pool, you can search swimming pools and that's an option. So whatever you think, people who like these things, whatever you think they are most likely to be interested in your ad, kind of play around with this if you want and see if it works for you. For today, I'm just going to leave it as is. I'm going to save. I'd like to point out, you have to follow Facebook's advertising rules. So don't offend anybody. Don't, insult renters. Don't talk about drugs. Use your best judgment here. It is coming from your business profile. Save. Something that unfortunately I don't get to play around with because this is coming, from the market center. So you can now auto tag whatever leads come in from this campaign, and you can also auto assign them to a smart plan. So that is an awesome time saver. The smart plans just have to already be in your smart plan library. So if you need kind of some easy options, go in there, search for things like Facebook ad leads, and there's smart plans that are already built out, designed for Facebook ad leads that these people will automatically be put onto. So that is awesome. I'm going to save. And then the last step, which, should probably be the easiest, is how long you want to run it, what days you want to run it for, and your budget. So I always do Monday. That's not right. I do Monday through Friday. It gives me 4 full days, and I do a budget of $20. So whatever you want to do here, it breaks it down for you. So it's $5 daily, $5 per channel, because I'm only using Facebook. That would change if I were using, Facebook and Instagram. It would be $5 daily, $2.50 per channel. My best advice for this, do whatever days you think that people are most likely on Facebook. So if you think that's the weekends, I would definitely run it on the weekends. I don't check these during the weekend, so I don't want the leads to go, just unnoticed. So that's why I run them Monday through Friday. I would definitely recommend doing them over the weekend if that's an option for you, and if you're paying close attention to this. I'm going to save. Take one last little look at my ad. And when I'm ready to publish this, I'm going to hit publish. It's going to ask for my card info. I'm just going to hit create campaign. So now you'll see it's this first one. It's pending review. So like I said, it does have to be approved by Facebook. Once it starts running, it'll turn green and it'll say active. And then we have these figures over here that will update in real time. So you can also see that $0 has been taken of my $20 total. What that means, you pay for it up front, but it doesn't take all of your money at once. I always point out, it's getting farther and farther down. This one right here, that it just wasn't doing very well. So I stopped it at $8.69 spent. And then I got the rest back as a credit to use towards my next ads. So if if you're really struggling because you don't want to spend that $20 because you don't want to waste it, if you keep an eye on this and you're 2 days into your 10-day ad and it's just not doing what you want it to do, you can always stop it and use that money in the future. So you have your CPM. I'm not entirely sure what it means, but it is your cost per 1,000 views. So what you would have had to spend in order for this to get in front of 1,000 people. Your cost per click, and then your cost per lead captured is what most people are concerned with. I will say, I think ones on listings kind of perform the best based on what I've seen. Like I did this one last week. I ended up with 17 leads at $1.18. One a few weeks ago, 23 leads, 87 cents. I think the best one I ever did, I ended up with 30 something leads at whatever, that puts it to. So you can get a good amount of leads from here. This isn't really a get rich quick thing though. So, you do kind of have to work these leads. Just kind of keep that in mind. Other than that, so you'll start being able to see that. You always have this little leads list that you can click through and see who came from what ad. You can duplicate it or you can stop it if need be. So I'm going to end the recording.